NASCAR Xfinity Series race is officially concluded from Texas Motor Speedway, and Kyle Larson comes back from a penalty on pit road and picks up a second Xfinity Series win of 2025. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Xfinity Series race in Texas Motor Speedway. We got a lot to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. So, at the start of the race, because there wasn't qualifying in the event, you had Austin Hill lead the field from the inside with Jeremy Clements on the outside, and Austin Hill got a really strong start and was able to clear for the race lead. But on lap 1, trouble with strike. Going into turn number 3, Ryan Elsa's spin coming off of turn number 3. Got a little bit of contact from Christian Eckes going in the corner. He would spin out, and also Josh Williams would end up spinning out as well, and Dean Thompson got collected in that. That would bring out the first caution. Just a short incident there. And then on the next restart, you had Justin Allgaier lead the field from the inside with Austin Hill on the outside, and Justin Allgaier got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. And once again, another caution would come out on the restart. Sammy Smith got in the back of Leland Honeyman Jr. going down the front straightaway. There'll be some contact. Leland ends up spinning out and collects Nick Lights, where they both end up getting caught up in the crash. And Sammy Smith would also get a ton of damage on the front of his car. He had basically a lot of damage on the front end. Just a mistake there by Sammy Smith. Way too over-aggressive there. So then on the next restart, you had Justin Allgaier lead the field from the inside with Austin Hill on the outside, and Justin Allgaier got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead after a really good battle between Allgaier, Hill, and Love up front. And then Justin Allgaier would start pulling away. Then on lap 21, the third caution race to come out once again with Josh Blicky sprung from 30th position. After some contact with Leland Honeyman, it looked like Blicky might have come down a little bit, but Leland might have gone up. That would bring out also the competition caution. Tough break for those guys. So during the caution, we had a little strategy. Jesse Love, Matt DiBenedetto, Harrison Burton, Ryan C., Daniel Dye, Carson Quavel, Parker Westside, Brennan Poole, Jeremy Clements, Mason Massey were among the guys that came down pit road, while the rest leaders would stay out. And then on the restart, you had Justin Allgaier lead the field from the inside with Austin Hill on the outside, and Justin Allgaier got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. But the guy that was charging his way up to the front was Kyle Larson. Larson had started back in 20th position, and by the 30th lap of the event, he was already inside of the top 5. And eventually, a few laps later, on lap 34, he would move up to second position and was starting to run Justin Allgaier down near the end of the stage. He had cut the lead down for almost 3 seconds by lap 40, down to 1.5 seconds. And it looked like Larson was going to have an opportunity to get there as Allgaier caught lap traffic, but he wouldn't get there, as coming out the final corner, Justin Allgaier would come off and win stage number 1. Then during the caution, all lead lap cars would then come down pit road, with Austin Hill winning the race off pit road, followed by Sheldon Creed and Brandon Jones, as Justin Allgaier did not have a good pit stop. Unfortunately, Kyle Larson had a terrible pit stop on pit road, would drop a lot of positions, and then had to go to the rear for an uncontrolled tire. Same thing for Matt DiBenedetto. Jeremy Clements got a penalty for over the wall too soon, and Jeb Burton got a penalty for pitting outside of the box. And then on the restart, you had Austin Hill lead the field from the inside with Brandon Jones on the inside, and Austin Hill got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead, and Austin Hill started pulling away. But eventually the biggest challenger of stage number 2 was emerging, and that of course was Justin Allgaier, and he was running him down. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson was coming back from his penalty and was charging his way up to the front. He actually got squirrely and nearly wrecked at one point, was able to save it and continue his way toward the front. And eventually, as the run went on, Justin Allgaier caught Austin Hill. But because dirty air is such a big factor in this track, and with it being difficult to pass, you can't really make a move to the outside because you might end up wrecking. There would be times where Justin Allgaier would try everything he could to get by Austin Hill, but he didn't have the run and didn't have an opportunity to make it up there. And then with a few laps to go in stage number 2, as Allgaier was trying to make the move, Chris Wright would end up spinning out down the back straightaway. He would hit the outside wall and get a little damage on his car and would spin to the inside, bringing out the caution. This would be the end of stage 2, with Austin Hill coming off the corner under caution and winning stage number 2, followed by Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed, Nick Sanchez, and Sam Mayer. And then all lead lap cars would then come down pit road, with Austin Hill winning the race off of pit road, followed by Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier. And William Sawalch, who was having a pretty good day, will get a penalty for an uncontrolled tire. And then on the restart, you had Austin Hill lead the field from the inside with Justin Allgaier on the outside, and they would battle side by side coming across the line. And as they got past start finish line, one of the biggest accidents of the day was strike. There would be some contact between Riley Herbst and Corey Day coming down the front straightaway. Sam Mayer would go in the grass. He come back across the track, clip Taylor Gray, and then a bunch of people right behind got turned. Josh Williams ends up spinning out, and many drivers get collected, including Catherine Legg, Mason Massey, Garrett Smithley, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Els, and Josh Blakey, and also Carson Quavel got collected in the crash as well. To me, that was just a big move, bad mistake by a lot of guys right there. I think Larson also got collected in that a little bit as well, but luckily Larson didn't get any major damage from that. But I think it's just a lot of drivers making dumb boat head moves to try to make a move on a restart, and a lot of guys got taken out because of that. And then on the next restart, you had Austin Hill lead the field from the inside with Justin Allgaier on the outside, and Austin Hill got a pretty good restart and was able to get the lead. Going down the back straightaway, one of the bigger instances of the day would end up taking place. Coming off of turn number 2, there would be a great battle between Creed Love and Corey Day, but Corey Day would try to send it through the middle going down the back straightaway. He would not clear. Sheldon Creed comes up the track, and all three drivers end up wrecking down the back straightaway. Sheldon Creed destroys the front of his car, and his day is over, and Corey Day's chance of maybe getting a top 10 after having his best Xfinity's run up to this point, his chance to get a great finish would be over. Tough break there for all those guys. There's just two guys trying to go for the same position. A bad move, in my opinion, by Corey Day to try to send it to the middle, but Sheldon Creed did come up a little bit as well, so I think it's just, to me, a racing deal, but kind of a dumb move on all their parts, and definitely could have been an avoided situation that probably did not need to happen. So then on the next restart, you had Justin Allgaier lead the field from the inside with Austin Hill on the outside, and Justin Allgaier got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. And meanwhile, Kyle Larson once again was coming. He would get up to set third position, and then about 10 laps later would catch Nick Sanchez and would get up to second. And he was starting to run him down very, very quickly and was catching him at a pretty fast rate of speed as they were catching lap traffic. And we'd actually see a pretty solid battle between Allgaier and Larson as the run progressed and went on. Meanwhile, we started seeing green flag pit stops. Riley Herbst the first come down pit road. And then on the next lap, Larson made a dive bomb move to the inside to try to get the race lead from Justin Allgaier going into turn number 2. But going down in turn number 3, Larson would get sideways, have a really impressive and really, really good save. Doesn't collect Allgaier, and they're both able to continue on. And they both end up saving. A fantastic job by both to not get caught up in a crash, and it continued a really, really good battle. And then, green flag pit stops continue. William Sawalcha would come down pit road. Then a few laps later, Ryan Sieg, Harrison Burton, Chris Wright come down. Then the next lap, Jeb Byrne comes down. And then eventually, Kyle Larson, Nick Sanchez, Jesse Love, and Matt DiBenedetto come down. And then more leaders like Austin Hill, Brandon Jones come down. And then Justin Allgaier and Daniel Dye all come down. And also Corey Day comes down pit road as well. This would mean that we'd have a couple guys staying out, like Sam Mayer, who would be up front trying to go long as most leaders continue going, while Larson had a pretty big lead over Allgaier. But then, everything would change. With 45 laps to go in the event, Justin Allgaier was catching Chris Wright, who was really slow on the track, who almost wrecked Kyle Larson earlier in the event. Chris Wright doesn't know where he's going, and Justin Allgaier just straight up runs into the back of him and takes themselves each other out of the event. In my opinion, that is completely on Chris Wright. Chris Wright was 5 seconds off the pace when you compare it to Justin Allgaier. And we criticized Catherine Legg at Rocking for being slow, but when I looked at her times on that last lap, she was only off by 0.7 of a second. In this case, Chris Wright, I knew at some point was going to cost a dominant car. And it's a shame for Justin Allgaier because Allgaier did nothing wrong. Chris Wright could not keep his car straight. I don't know what he was doing there. That was one of the stupidest things that I have seen so far in Xfinity competition in quite some time. To me, Chris Wright should not be in this series. They probably should put someone better like a Kyle Weatherman or maybe a Brett Moffitt perhaps in that car, because that car has been terrible this year. Chris Wright is terrible, and he should not be in this race car. Just a really bad look on his part. So during this caution, Sam Mayer, Daniel Dye, Taylor Gray, Jeremy Clements, Sammy Smith, Anthony Alfredo, and all the guys who had not pitted previously would come down pit road, handing the lead to Kyle Larson. And then on the next restart, you had Kyle Larson lead the field from the inside with Nick Sanchez on the outside, and Kyle Larson got a fantastic restart and got the race lead. And Kyle Larson started pulling away from the field. We saw a really fantastic battle between Austin Hill and Nick Sanchez for the next 25 to 30 laps, and they continued battling really, really hard, and Nick Sanchez actually got back up to second position. But by lap 183, Larson had near 6.3 to 6.4 second lead and was continuing to pull away, and it looked like Larson was going to run away with this thing. However, with with 13 laps to go, everything would change. Kyle Larson's protege, Corey Day, we didn't really get a good replay for whatever reason, but Corey Day spins into the inside of turn number 3 and would hit the tire barriers coming off the corner and would get a ton of damage on the left front. That would bring out the caution. And this would change everything because of that. Because most cars come down the road, including Kyle Larson, Harrison Burton, and Sammy Smith, except about 5 guys. Austin Hill, Nick Sanchez, Taylor Gray, Sam Mayer, Jessup, Anthony Alfredo. All those guys would stay out while everyone else came down the road, and Larson would have 4 tires and would restart in 8th position, meaning Larson would have to have a lot of work to do to get up there. And then on the restart, you had Austin Hill lead the field from the inside with Nick Sanchez on the outside. And Austin Hill had a terrible restart and lost a ton of ground. And Kyle Larson was sending it 3 wide and 4 wide and jumped all the way up the 4th position going down the back straightaway. He actually tried to make it 3 wide, gave a huge push at Sam Mayer going down the back. And it looked like he was going to try to challenge for the race lead going down the back, but got sideways and would drop back to 4th position. And then coming down the front straightaway, the second to last caution race to come out. Kyle Larson got to the inside of Nick Sanchez trying to get the second, and there would be some contact between Sammy Smith, who got turned by Austin Hill going down the front straightaway. Austin Hill did not seem like he knew where he's going at that point. That would take him out of Sammy Smith out of contention. He was recovering after his damage. Just a bonehead move on Austin Hill's part. Tough break for Sammy Smith, who was covering very nicely. This would take him out. And then on the first overtime restart, you had Sam Mayer lead the field from the inside with Nick Sanchez on the outside, and Sam Mayer got a really good push and was able to clear for the race lead with Austin Hill trying to go underneath before Mayer got loose. And then down the back straightaway, a big crash would happen. Jeremy Clements would get turned by Anthony Alfredo going down the back straightaway and hit the outside wall very hard, back the car into the back wall, bringing out the final caution of this race with Sam Mayer having the lead over Kyle Larson. And then we get the final restart. Yes, Sam Mayer lead the field from the inside and Kyle Larson on the outside. And Kyle Larson got a great restart. Mayer did as well. But Kyle Larson would get a fantastic restart and go to the outside, charge on the outside line to get the race lead, make the move outside. Nick Sanchez would get really, really hard and hit the outside wall. And Kyle Larson drove away and started pulling away. And it looked like no one was going to try to challenge as Kyle Larson pulled out to about a 1-second lead as he came to the white flag of the event. And no one would challenge Larson. As Kyle Larson would come off the corner in a substitution role for Connor Zilisch, he comes off the corner and picks up his 17th career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory and his 2nd win of 2025 and his 5th win across all 3 series this year. What a day for Kyle Larson. He got all called earlier this week to substitute for Connor Zilisch, who of course had a back injury from what happened at Talladega Super Speedway, and I knew coming into this event that Larson was going to be fast. I'm not sure exactly if Larson did have the fastest car, but once he got out front and Justin Allgaier was out of contention, Kyle Larson just took over this race. I think he did have the fastest car at the end of the event, and he earned this win in my opinion, and it's a big deal for Zilisch because his 88 car has been strong. We knew he was going to be quick. I think this is the 2nd or 3rd win he's had with Junior Motorsports, so a big deal is he won the 88 car, I believe back in 2022 or 2023, I'm pretty sure, Watkins Glen. So big deal for Larson. Good to see him win for Connor Zilisch. I think Red Bull was on the car, I'm pretty sure, this week too. So interesting considering Larson's prime sponsorship details that he has. But a big deal for Kyle Larson to get it done. I'm happy for him because he got the win for Zilisch. Congratulations, Kyle Larson, on picking up the win. A well-deserved win for Larson. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results to get my score and thoughts on today's race. So Kyle Larson picks up the win. Taylor Gray finishes 2nd. So close. Taylor Gray had a pretty good run. He ran top 10 most of the day, but never really was a major factor for the win. But he put together a really strong performance today. I'm telling you, Taylor Gray at some point is going to pick up a victory. A great run from Gray. He finishes 2nd. Riley Herbst finished 3rd. Riley Herbst actually got spun out at one point on pit road on the 2nd to last caution. He recovers to get 3rd. Riley Herbst was really not a major factor for the win. He had about a 5th to 6th place car most of the day, but never had a car that was in contention like we see with Eric Almirola this year. But still a good day for Herbst. Great comeback, a little bit of experience going to the event tomorrow. He finishes 3rd. Austin Hill finished 4th. Great run from Austin Hill. He's been very consistently having a good season after a couple bad races. He actually scored the most points of anybody in the field today, so he got a lot of points today on Allgaier especially. He finished 4th. Great run for Austin Hill. Sam Mayer finished 5th. I thought Sam Mayer was going to win this race, but he had a terrible restart, lost a ton of ground, missed a corner, still comes home with a top 5. Mayer's been at times hit or miss at points this year, but has also been really good on the consistency side. He finishes 5th. Harrison Burton finished 6th. Continues to impress me in this car. Now, I believe Haley Deegan, she got a top top 20 in this car at Texas last year, so I'm not surprised to see the AM Racing Machine be really good here, but a really good day for Burton. He continues to do really well in that car. He's got a chance to make the playoffs this year. Good run for Harrison. He finishes 6th. Jesse Love finished 7th. Quite solid day for Love. Got caught up in a crash and still comes home with a top 10 and 7th place. Pretty good day for Jesse Love. Ryan Sieg finished 8th. I thought Sieg would be a little bit more a factor. I think he had about a 5th place car at best. Never really had a car to contend for the victory, but still a pretty solid day for Sieg. He finished 8th. Brandon Jones finished 9th. Quiet day for Brandon Jones. Ran top 10 a lot of this race. Had a pretty solid day. Just kept his nose clean all day. He finished 9th. And Jeb Burton with another solid run today. He finished 10th. He's been having a pretty good year so far. I think he's got a chance to get in on points this year in the playoffs. Good run for Burton. He finished 10th. Daniel Dye finished 11th. Solid day for him. Anthony Alfredo finished 12th. William Swash finished 13th. Good for William Swash. This is his first finish above 20th place in 7 races. And he had an adversity day too. He ran pretty solid. He actually had a top 10 car. He started in the back. I didn't think he'd be a factor today. But this is actually the first time we've seen something from William. And I get 13th isn't great, but he at least stops the bleeding, and maybe now they can get some of that momentum headed their direction. A decent day for Swash, not a great day, but it stops the bleeding overall. He finished 13th, decent day, all things considered. Parker Reslov finished 14th. Not a bad day for him. Matt DiBenedetto finished 15th. Matty D had a really good run today. He was in the top 10 in quite a bit of this race, but lost a ton of ground at the end. He finished 15th. Corey Day finished 16th. I know a lot of people are going to crap on Corey Day. He actually legit early in this race was having his best run. Then he had his issues throughout the event. He does come on with a top 20, so that's better than anything else. He just needs to get better at this point, because at least he showed something at points in this race, but he made a lot of mistakes. He's still inexperienced, but wasn't his best run overall, but he does come home with a top 20 and 16th. Brendan Poole finished 17th. Sammy Smith finished 18th. Carson Quavo finishes 19th. Nick Sanchez finished 20th. I want to talk about Nick Sanchez for a second. Nick Sanchez had a top 3 car. I think he was the best car outside of Allgaier and Larson today. The best run we've seen from Nick in the Xfinity Series. Unfortunately for Nick, he got kind of screwed over by Sam Mayer there, being a little bit over-aggressive on the last restart, costing Nick a shot at the win. I think Nick honestly should have been up there going for the win against Larson, but it still was a great day for Nick to get a lot of points, but he probably should have got a better finish than he did, because today he was doing a very good job. He does come home with a top 20, but it should have been a better finish than he got today. Mason Massey finished 21st. Kyle Sieg finished 22nd. Ryan Ellis finished 23rd. Blaine Perkins finished 24th. Joey Gase finished 25th. How about that for Joey Gase to get a top 25 finish? Mason Maggio finished 26th. Dean Thompson had motor issues in this race. He finished 27th. Josh Fligge finished 28th. Nick Lights finished 29th. Garrett Smithley finishes 30th. Jeremy Clements finished 31st. Catherine Lake finished 32nd. She finished the race, but she didn't have the best day overall. It was a little bit of struggle for her all day, but she kept her nose clean for the most part until that big wreck. Chris Wright finished 33rd. Can we please revoke his license in the sport? He should not be racing in that car. He finished 33rd. Lee Honeyman finished 34th. Justin Allgaier finished 35th. I feel terrible for Allgaier. He had the best car today, maybe outside of Larson. He probably should have been up there contending with Larson for the win. He had a really good car, but nothing to show for it because of a lap car named Chris Wright, who took completely out of contention. He finished 35th. Sheldon Creed, after crashing out, finished 36th. Josh Williams, after crashing, finished 37th. And finishing last in 30th place is Christian Eckes, because he had power and motor issues and had a lot of damage on the car as well, and his day would come to an end early because of engine issues. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give my scoring thoughts on today's race. This race was definitely way better than the Truck Series race. Was it good? No. But we shouldn't be expecting Texas races to be very good. But I think this race, despite a lot of the chaos that happened, despite some of the silliness that happened in this race, I think this race definitely did have some good moments for sure. You could pass. It was not impossible to pass in the race today, and I'll give it that because the Xfinity Series usually puts on a good show. But I think there still was a little bit too much chaos for me going on for this race to even be remotely good. This race was a little bit too chaotic at times. I think we've had 26 cautions combined across both races so far this weekend. A little bit too much. I think we got to find a way to get rid of the grass and put turf on the track at this point, because that seems like the only way that's going to stop a lot of the cars going through the grass at this point. But this race honestly was not terrible. This is way better than the Truck Series race. It got a little silly at the end, but I think this race is definitely not the worst race of the year for Xfinity, especially. I think today's race honestly was decent. It wasn't great. My score today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race is honestly going to be about a 6 out of 10. I think it was actually that decent in all honesty. A 6 out of 10. Had some good moments for sure. I think it was an okay race, not a great race by any stretch of imagination, but it had some decent moments. My score is going to be a 6 out of 10. I'm not angry like it was last time, so that's something there to say at least as a positive. So, that is going to be today's NASCAR Cup Xfinity Series race review from Texas Motor Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Your thoughts about today's race, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Kyle Larson on picking up his second win of 2025 in Xfinity. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have the starting lineup video for the NASCAR Cup Series race for the World 400. They'll be going out early in the morning. And then, of course, we will do some little short review of the Cup Series race tomorrow as well. And then we might do an SVG video, but probably not at this point. And the Monday, I'm not only going to have one, but two NASCAR news videos more than likely dropping on the channel of all the news that's been breaking over the course of the last couple of days. I got content coming out, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Corey Day, Hendrick Motorsports, Junior Motorsports, Connor Zilch. We had a big update on him. We've also got Cletus McFarland conversation to probably talk about as well once again. I do believe that this week I'm going to have a silly season update that's probably going to be dropping this Thursday or Friday or at some point this week. I'm not entirely sure, but I do have a silly season update that is coming soon. It might actually be coming this Saturday, as a matter of fact, so keep your eyes on that because we might get some silly season stuff here really, really soon. But I also talk about Dodge in the future as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.